Hello my friends, namaste, hope you are doing good. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm back with a new video. I will react to India's growth beats estimates and defies global slowdown, a report made by Palki Sharma. Actually, as we know, the latest GDP numbers point to the fact that India's economy is performing much better than world's economy, and actually it's so happy to see like this news. And as we know also that Germany is in a recession. Meanwhile, India has negligible chances to be in a recession. So my friends, let's get into the video. Let's be ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
What's happening here is also a set of historical revisions. We realized that 2021 has been actually a lot better than we thought. And so actually there's less room for catching up. And that pent-up demand, which from consumption that was informing our previous forecast, is therefore going to be less because they've already had more catching up before. So that's why there's the downward revision this year. Then we go up to 6.3 next year. Again, a very strong economy, which is necessary to allow India to continue to converge towards higher living standards and create those jobs.
So 5.9% growth this year and 6.3% in the next financial year.
So
that's the growth trajectory for India according to the IMF. It's lower than India's own growth forecast, but it's pretty solid when you look at the rest of the world. According to the IMF, the United States will grow at a rate of 1.6%. The Eurozone, 0.8%. Eurozone has 19 countries which use the euro as their currency. Russia's growth is projected to be 0.7% despite the war and the Western sanctions. China 5.2% and India 5.9%. So India comes on top of this list.
Good.
Why do you think India is doing better? The World Bank has an assessment. This came out earlier this month. And here is what the World Bank said about India. I'm quoting again. The Indian economy continues to show strong resilience to external shocks. Notwithstanding external pressures, India's service exports have continued to increase and the current account deficit is narrowing. So there are three reasons. The Indian economy is not as exposed to external shocks as the rest. The rising exports have helped, and India has a narrowing current account deficit. What's a current account deficit? It's the difference between a government's expenses and earnings. Let me rephrase this. India is doing better because of immunity to external shocks, expanding exports, and reducing deficits. And the numbers support this assessment. Last month, India's exports crossed the 750 billion mark. This was an all-time high. Inflation is slowly coming under control. In February, inflation in India fell below the 7% mark. This year's monsoon predictions are out. Forecasters say India will have a normal monsoon this year. This is expected to boost food grain output and ease concerns of any shortage. Since the pandemic began, the Indian economy has performed better than the rest. The challenge now is to sustain this growth, to keep it at the same level. And it won't be easy because while India can resist some of the external shocks, it cannot avoid them altogether. And there will be external shocks. The IMF says the outlook for the world economy remains dim.
We have a global slowdown in growth, not just for advanced economies, but also for emerging market and developing economies. We are in a situation where there is elevated levels of nervousness in the market. There are a number of vulnerabilities out there, and one should be very vigilant going ahead to try to make sure that the places that look weak are reinforced or buttressed, or taking actions to reduce these vulnerabilities.
What are these vulnerabilities? High inflation, rising interest rates, the uncertainty in the global banking sector, which was triggered by the bank failures in the US, and the war in Ukraine. It has cast a shadow on the economy. Policymakers and investors are nervous. The war is far from over, and there's a fear that it may spill over. There are growing geopolitical tensions over Ukraine, so the global economic situation remains challenging, and India's policy planners have their task cut out. They must create new opportunities and contain the risks. Right now, India's finance minister is in Washington. Nirmala Sitharaman is leading a high-powered delegation and meeting top officials. Yesterday, she met with Geeta Gopinath, the deputy managing director of IMF. They discussed global economic challenges. Sitharaman also met Janet Yellen, the US Treasury Secretary, their finance minister. India is pushing for reforms of multilateral development banks, like the World Bank. Yellen has appreciated India's stance on the issue. The next few months are going to be crucial. As the world's fastest growing economy, there will be more expectations from India, and New Delhi will have to go beyond expressing opinion. It will have to come up with solutions to some of the most pressing challenges of the world today.
So my friends, as we see, India is emerging stronger and stronger, and her economy is always in the top. Actually, it was an interesting video. I like always the way that Palki Sharma explained the informations in an easy way to understand. And I always like to follow the news about the economy of India and see how much India is progressing so fast. So my friends, thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed my reaction video. And if you want to see more videos, you can mention your recommendations in the comments. See you in the next video. Have a beautiful day. Love you all. Bye.